Alrighty. Okay. Alright, so hi there. It is just after 4 in the morning. So wee hours of the morning. And time to show up. I'm showing up. I'm glad you showed up. I appreciate every single one of you. Do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit, and let's shit in the box. Now, as you might guess, I am all about Starfield at the moment, and being all about Starfield, what have we got going on here? Minus 36. Okay, I had a comment on the last video that's about it's about the operation of my noise gate, which is not the greatest situation. Now we're using a noise gate, open threshold. Let's put the open threshold at minus 40, and we'll put the closed threshold at minus 55. Attack time stays at 25, hold time at 100, release time we'll put at 250, and yeah, there, that should work. So anyway, let's jump over here onto the, now when I first got the announcement for the Terran Armada DLC for Starfield, I was expecting it to be about $30, and when it turned out instead that it's only going to be $10, I thought to myself, well, since I've already set aside $30, I could toss $20 into Creation Club credits and get myself some shit to tide me over until the actual release. Something to do for the next 3 weeks, you know? So what I did was I went in and I picked up, I already had the Trackers Alliance, obviously, and I already had the Starborn Guardian 7+. So what I also picked up was I picked up McLaren's Outfitters. I was gonna just pick up Watchtower and Cryomancers because those looked like about $20 worth of shit, but Watchtower and McLaren's Outfitters was on sale for 10% off, and Cryomancers was on sale 30% off. So I got all of these for less than the $1,800 I thought I was going to be spending. Now, the testneon.esp here, this is me fucking around with the creation kit. Okay, this is stuff I'm testing in Neon. Yes, it is about Honda. Anyway, I've only got the Cryomancers enabled, okay? And I do want to show you a couple of specific things here. Let's see, not a whole lot to talk about there. Weapons and gear. I've already collected most of this shit, like already. And let's see. There are unique weapons that are still hidden and locked away. I don't know if I've got any of these. The ship, I did get the ship. The companions, I have found 2 of the companions. Now, it's the tips that I really want to see here, okay? It says here, what I want to talk about is, having played the Cryomancers creation a little bit, I want to talk about why most mods are fucking garbage. And I do have to issue a disclaimer before that. It's not because the developers are stupid or lazy or incompetent. That's not it. There are skills that a lot of developers, particularly amateur developers, do not recognize as meaningful skills that they need. And These are typically skills that are brought into play by project managers, hey, lead designers, and QA, hey. So lead designers frequently have this information. I would not call myself a lead designer because while I do design and build games, I've never been a design lead on a professional team. So I'm not gonna call myself by that. But anyway, I got a couple of things that I want to point out. Now, one of them is right here. After you get Thrax, shoot him with the customizer to change his gear. You should get a manual at the end of the first quest. Should. Not will, but should. You might not. You might not get a manual. It admits right here in the description, you might not get the manual. And if they knew how to fix that, they would. You'll need piloting rank 4 to use the new ship. You can always go back and get it later. Okay, I guess. But the big one right here, all the way at the top, if you find it hard to see when a boss is using a cryoblaster on you, use a cryo grenade to freeze them and gain the upper hand. If you can't see, throw a grenade. This solution is unhinged. Now, what's actually going on here is, when the enemy is spam firing a particular weapon at you, and let me go ahead and switch back to full screen here. When the enemy is spam firing a weapon at you, you can't see. This is a problem. So, why don't you fix it so the visibility effect when the weapon is fired at you isn't as bad? Failing that, you could reduce the weapon's rate of fire so it can't be spam fired as quickly. Or you could alter the AI of the enemy so that they don't fire as often. Like maybe they fire one shot and then take cover in a different area. There are a number of solutions to this problem that are not, you, player, use this equipment you might not have on an enemy you can't see. This is the kind of solution that is proposed by somebody who knows where all the enemies are in their mod. They know when they get into combat with a boss that is spam firing the cryoblaster at them, they know the boss is over there. And of course I have cryo grenades. I've been collecting buttloads of cryo grenades. So they know the general area to throw them into, and of course their area effect, and their grenade-using types of people in the first place. So, you know, using a grenade is something that they think of, and it's something that they're equipped to do. And I'm not a grenade person. I don't like using grenades. I don't use them very often, and because I don't typically use them, I don't generally have them equipped, so when it's hard to see because the enemy's firing a cryoblaster at me, I can't just throw a cryo grenade. I need to open the inventory screen and go to the throwables and equip the cryo grenade, which I might not have because I don't fucking use grenades. I may have thrown them into a container. I may have just not picked them up. As a general rule, I don't pick up grenades because I don't fucking want them. I don't use them. They just take up space in my inventory, and I don't care. The people who build mods tend to test the mod. Well, there's a distinction that I need to draw. When we talk about play testing, you're supposed to get play testers for your game. Most mod authors do not get play testers. Ever. Now, I know a lot of mod authors are going to go, wait, we've got play testers. No. You have test players. That is a different thing. Players who test your game are primarily players. If things go well, they're just going to go, oh, right, everything went fine. And chances are very good that the players you know are players who like the kind of games that you like and play those kinds of games the way that you play them. I don't. And we're going to talk about another much larger issue that I had with this particular mod shortly. A play tester is a tester who plays your game. And the shit we do is fucking unhinged. It really is. Like, honestly, we're gonna do the dumbest, weirdest shit. Like, I actually, this is one of my favorite things ever. Like, you talk about the boss is using a cryo blaster on you. Just use a cryo grenade on them. Fuck that shit. I'm throwing gravity well. When I throw gravity well, all of the enemies get sucked into the middle of the room and they can't attack. And now that they're all being sucked into the middle of the room and they can't attack, hey, that's a great place to throw Create Vacuum. And that in turn is a great place to throw a few solar flares. In fact, if you come in here, if we jump back over and we look at my main screen here, okay, and we dump out of this and we come up here to my powers. Actually, let me just pop up. Obviously, I'm hanging around a long way. That's where I always am in this game. If I pull up my shortcuts, at the bottom we got Create Vacuum, Gravity Well, Solar Flare. They go together. I will chuck Create Vacuum in an area, throw Gravity Well in the center of it, and then chuck a few solar flares into it. That's my little 1, 2, 3 right there. Similarly, I keep Personal Atmosphere and Phase Time nearby. Personal Atmosphere and Phase Time are like the greatest little peaceful things. It's like, oh, you're over encumbered. You keep running out of oxygen because you've got too much shit. No, Personal Atmosphere, fuck you. Sense Star Stuff, I use the hell out of this. You cannot sneak up on me. You cannot surprise me. Unless you use robots. You can use robots, turrets, those work. Eternal Harvest, so I can harvest a given plant over and over again. Elemental Pull. Elemental Pull is so fucking badass. And I have fucked that up because I didn't switch over to the screen. Let me go over this again. So, yeah. Here's one of course.
Thanks for finding my sheets, Chief. The books were a mess without them.
I'm sure they were.
No funny stuff with that boost pack. Got enough flight traffic as it is.
Eat me! Anyway, my big 1, 2, 3. Create Vacuum, Gravity Well, Solar Flare. Right here. Sense Star Stuff. Use this shit all the time. You can't sneak up on me. Eternal Harvest to grab shit off of plants. Elemental Pull. This is the greatest thing. You land on a moon, you get out of your ship, you throw this off once, half the time the planet's surveyed. Get back in your ship and go. Just fucking leave. Just hit the bricks. And then I got Personal Atmosphere and Phase Time. Both of those are really useful. Phase Time makes the Red Mile just trivial. You just hit Phase Time, you run. Once you get Phase Time to level 10, by the time Phase Time is over, you've regenerated the energy you need to use it again. So, it's just like, it's that simple. It really is that easy to take care of that. And let's jump back to the full screen cam. Sorry about that. At least you know it's fucking live. You know it's live. It's got to be live. It's definitely live. To the beach, y'all. Anyway, the big problem that test players run into is they don't do weird shit. When you're playing, well, when I'm playing the Cryomancers content, because I have Create Vacuum and Gravity Well and Solar Flare jacked up to the maximum levels, all of these enemies are trivial, okay? Because I can suck them into the middle of the room with Gravity Well, no problem. Gets them away from me easily. Chucking Create Vacuum and Solar Flare. Solar Flare is damage over time. And it's not damage by amount. It's damage by percentage. This is the same thing you get with fire. It's what makes the cutter such an amazing weapon in late game. When you've got lasers jacked up to the top level, and you pull out the cutter, and when you've got lasers and heavy weapons jacked all the way up, and you pull out the cutter, and you go and you start shooting it at people, you're just setting them on fire left and right. And setting shit on fire doesn't do X number of points of damage. It does X% of the total. You can absolutely fucking toast terramorphs with a cutter. You can use a mining laser and just take them the fuck down. And it's the same way with Create Vacuum, which just sucks the health right out of whatever ends up in it. And the funniest thing about Create Vacuum, I'll tell you what, this is hilarious. You can throw Create Vacuum in an area, and the idiot will go, "Oh my God, I've been hit. I should take cover." And he'll duck behind a chair or a desk or a storage crate within the area of effect of Create Vacuum. He tries to hide from the vacuum. I can't breathe. I'd better hide. I don't know what the thought process is here, but it's hilarious. Solar Flare is the same way. It's damage over time. You hit these fuckers, and another thing I think is funny is both Create Vacuum and Solar Flare compound. If you drop Create Vacuum in an area twice, they lose their health twice as fast. Why? Is it twice as much vacuum? I mean, can't breathe is can't breathe, right? Same thing with Solar Flare. Well, Solar Flare, at the very least, is like that solar radiation. Huge dose of solar radiation, much worse than a single dose. But Solar Flare works well on, it works on shit that Create Vacuum doesn't. Like, Create Vacuum won't take out a turret, and it won't take out a robot. But Solar Flare will. Solar Flare will do damage over time to a turret and destroy it. You can whack that turret and then duck behind something and just sit there and wait. And the turret will die. A lot of people aren't using their starborn powers. That's one of the things Bethesda are trying to do in the Free Lanes update is they're trying to get people to use their starborn powers more. And a lot of people aren't doing New Game Plus. They're not doing New Game Plus because they're like, I don't want to give up all my stuff. And I'm vaguely sad about this because that's the lesson you're supposed to learn. All of your money and your stuff and the things that you built, they don't matter. They're gone over and over again. You run out of shit to do. You run out of ways to do it. And people are just like, no, I want to stay here. I can't imagine myself ever doing New Game Plus. I don't want to do all of the temples. I don't want all of my magic powers. I don't want all of my magic powers at max level. I just want to hang out and build my bullshit manufacturing empire that makes my tinium control rods automatically. Okay? And I'm going to pick up like 200 tons of them, and I'm going to waddle over to a merchant. and I'm going to sit in a chair. I'm going to sell 5,000 credits worth of them and sit for 2 days and sell 5,000 credits more and sit for 2 days. I'm going to do this hundreds of times. Hey, hi, quick question. What the fuck is wrong with you? This is boring. You're not even playing the game. I don't understand these people. I don't understand what they're doing. I don't know what their problem is. But the difference between a playtester and a test player is the test player is going to go into your game and they're going to play it. A playtester is going to go into your game and go, how can I break this? How can I completely and totally fuck this up? What can I see that could go wrong? And the best example I have of this from the Cryomancers kind, I'm only about halfway through it. I've only just finished HQ2, the robotics lab on, where is the robotics lab? Is that on New Atlantis? I think it's on New Atlantis. Something was on New Atlantis. Something was on Gagarin, however you pronounce it. Something is on Voli Epsilon, and currently they're trying to send me to Aquila City. So yeah, I think it was on New Atlantis. Because I know I haven't been to the one on Voli Epsilon. Anyway. I am trying to go through this headquarters. And I get to a point where it says, check in the storage room. And it gives me a mission objective at the storage room. The storage room says, I'm sorry. This door only opens with the HQ2 storage key. Okay, let me go find the HQ2 storage key. This took me 5 hours of gameplay, 5 hours of searching, because I went through every single room looking for the key, and I kept finding HQ2 keys. I found 3 of those, but the HQ2 storage key eluded me. I looked every place that seemed reasonable for a key to be hidden. I could not find it. I unlocked everything there was to unlock. I blew through like 24 digipicks. I could not fucking find it. I searched and cleared every single enemy that I had fought and defeated, which was all of them. I checked on the ship that you find toward the end of that headquarters. And it's not on the ship. I looked everywhere. I looked all through the ship. I looked all through the exterior. I looked all through the interior. I could not fucking find it. So I went through my inventory and I found a slate called Delivery List. And that slate, which I had picked up at some point during my travels, a slate which gets knocked around fairly easily, especially if people are throwing grenades and setting off explosives, which the Cryomancers do a fair bit of, unfortunately, because they fucking suck. So I had picked up this slate, and because I'm typically picking stuff up in the middle of combat, if I pick up a slate in the middle of combat, I do not go, oh, let me kick back and read what is on this slate. I just hit cancel and read it later. I don't even read slates immediately as I'm picking them up. I go through, I pick up everything that I can, and then I go through and read the slates later. I go into the new items part of my inventory, and I go, okay, that's a slate, let's read it. That's a slate, let's read it. That's a slate, let's read it. So I finally get around to reading this slate. And the first thing it says is, I locked that robot in the small storage room. Okay. I've heard about this. And I've seen the computer entries all through the fucking base. It's the K-9. K9. It's a canine. It's a robot dog companion. 3 things I don't fucking like, want, or need. And the slate says, I locked that robot in the small storage room. I left the key here on the table. Where's here? That's okay. That's all right. I'm only like an hour and a half, 2 hours in at this point. I know the key is on a table. I go through the entire fucking place looking for a key on a table. Checking every table. Everything that could be considered a table. Everything that anybody in their right mind could call a table. I checked it. I checked desks. I checked consoles. I checked every fucking where. I checked the tops of storage crates. Finally, I get fed up. And I go unhinged, starborn lunatic. And I pull out Gravity Well. If you're looking for something in an area, throw Gravity Well in the middle of the room, and it will pull everything into the middle of the room. Pick up everything that can be picked up. Just like walk through the pile and pick up everything. Pick all of the shit up and scatter everything around and make sure everything is like shoved off to the side and you've picked up everything that can be picked up. If you do not happen to pick up the thing that you're looking for, turn on your scanner and look around. Because sometimes the thing that you're looking for cannot be moved from where it is. You will see storage containers, for example. You see like the little med pack containers, the little medical storage thingies, little drug storage thingies, ammo boxes, storage boxes, and you can pick the stuff up out of there. And after a little over an hour of doing this, which puts me at well over 4 hours, close enough to 5, I finally find the storage key. It is 30 meters from the door that it opens. And at this point, having found it, I look at where it is. It's on a little wheeled cart next to a shelving unit. There is nothing remotely like a table anywhere nearby. You can't even fucking see a table looking at this thing. And I go, did I find a secondary location? Is this not the only storage key? Did the storage key get put here somehow? Is this, there's a thing that you can do because you can blow shit all over the place. You can sometimes make objects fall through the world. And when an object falls through the world, it's not uncommon for there to be some kind of exception handler that goes, that fell out of the space. Let's put it into a default location so it can still be found, just in case it's important. So is that what happened here? I don't know. But let's go check the creation kit. Let's fire up the creation kit and let's look. And indeed, the key is on this little wheeled cart and the data slate is right next to it, saying I left it here on the table. Now let's talk about what else this data slate says. It says I left the key here on the table. It says the cryo drone with the faulty AI is on Jacob's desk. Who the fuck is Jacob and where's his desk? Oh, well, it turns out it's across the room from the door you're supposed to open with the key. So, you were in that room putting away the robot. And you were in that room putting the drone on Jacob's desk. And there's another note that the stolen Mantis ship is on landing pad B. You did not need to go anywhere for that. You certainly did not grab the ship out of orbit and put it on landing pad B. It was already on landing pad B. Why isn't this the first thing on the list? Regardless, the fourth thing on the list is that you're going to get a snack. You're going to go get some chunks because you're hungry. And you're going to put some chunks in your stomach. Who is this list for? Who is going to find this list? Why did you write down, I'm going to go get a snack on your list of where things are being delivered? And given that you were just right next to the storage room putting the robot in it, and right next to the storage room putting the drone on Jacob's desk, why didn't you put the slate and the key on one of the other desks in the same room? Why did you walk it out into the other room and leave it on a wheeled cart with nothing else? This doesn't make sense to me. These are the kind of things that a play tester tells you. They're the kind of things that a test player won't. Because a test player isn't thinking about this shit. This is not on his mind. He's just trying to play the game and have a good time. As long as he finds the storage key and uses it to open the door, everything is fine. As long as he can find the storage key. And an outrageous amount of the time, I have found this over and over again. Oh God, I don't want to blow the whistle on like particular features or particular projects, but I have seen people in QA ask each other, hey, where's the menu item for this? There isn't one. You have to use the hotkey. And the hotkey is like Control-Shift-K or some such thing. Is this an issue? Is this in the issue tracker? Have we reported this and assigned a number to it? Oh no, the developer knows about it. Yeah, but are we sure he's not going to forget? It should really go into the tracker. We should put this into the tracker that we don't have a menu item for this. We only have a hotkey. Is the hotkey documented anywhere? It's probably in the help file. Has anybody looked in the help file? Do we have a help file? Are we supposed to have a help file? This is the kind of shit that goes on when people don't have the tester mindset. And it's the same thing when it's like, user testing and not test using. It's very, very frustrating watching even the people that are supposed to be testing the software go, hey, it's broken. Yeah, I know. Just use the workaround. Are we going to tell the developers? No, the developers know. Do management know? Does marketing know not to tell people we have this feature because it doesn't work yet? Oh no, we have the feature. It works. It's not usable. This frustrates the hell out of me. Constantly. I run into this all the time. And again, I want to emphasize, the developers are not stupid. They are not lazy. They are not incompetent. They just did not think of everything. A lot of the time, this is because there's pressure for them to just get stuff done, and they're not using play testers, they're using test players, and the test players are just like, can I get through it? And the test player will go, I can't find the storage key. Where's the storage key? It's in the cart outside of the room. Oh, okay, there it is. Problem solved. Problem not solved. One of the things that we used to say at Microsoft is, even if something only happens 1 out of every million times, when you're Microsoft, 1 out of every million times is Tuesday. It's going to happen Tuesday. Somebody's going to have this problem on Tuesday. You can't rely on that. You can't rest on that. And in this particular case, it's a question of play style. I don't casually read the slate as I find it and go, oh, it's here on the table. Why, there it is, right there. Let me pick it up. That's not how I play. And because that's not how I play, that's not the experience I had. The experience I had was tearing my hair out searching for this fucking key for 5 goddamn hours. Some people are going to say that's because I'm stupid. I don't think it is. I don't think it is because I'm stupid. I think it's because we did not have appropriate messaging around where a key was likely. The key was in a weird place. That's a weird place for a key to be. Why would you store a key on a wheeled cart? Why would you put the slate next to the key and say, the key's here? You should put the key in one place and the slate saying where the key is somewhere else. Because that's 2 opportunities to find the key. You could find the key and you have the key. Or you can find the slate and the slate tells you where the key is. When you're prompted to open the storage room, that should be an optional objective. Because I don't fucking want your robot dog companion. When the robot dog companion is in the storage room, don't care. Don't want it, don't care. You should have a mission objective on the key. Open the storage room. When I pick up that slate, you should say, get the key to the storage room and put an objective marker on the key. Then when I pick up the key, you can say, optional, open the storage room. Just like when I got to the appropriate point, it should have been optional, go check out the ship. I didn't get an optional go pick up the ship. I was forced to go pick up the ship or I couldn't progress in the mission. What if the player doesn't care? What if the player doesn't want this thing that you're leading them to? What if the player doesn't give a shit? Here's where you can get your robot dog companion. Don't want it, don't care. I had to go get it. And that was another thing. I walked up to the door and I could hear the robot behind it. And I opened the door and the room was empty. And I walked inside, there was nothing there. I could still hear the robot moving around. I turned around, there's nothing else in the room either. And then I walked out of the room and there was the robot. I don't know what the fuck happened. The most reasonable explanation I could come up with is when I opened the door, the robot was trapped behind the door. So I couldn't see him, and when I moved forward and out of the way, he walked out from behind the door, this being the noise that I heard, and walked out of the room. And then when I turned around, he had walked out of the room and was no longer visible because he was outside the room. And then I walked out, oh, there he is. That was fucking weird. Why is the dog moving around behind the door and allowed to get that close to the door? This should have been reported as an issue. Somebody should have said, hey, wait a minute, this is kind of weird, it's kind of fucked up. I guarantee I'm not the first person to run across this. I guarantee I'm not the first person to see it. But nobody said this is a problem. That's the issue with test players. Nobody said this is going to be a problem for some players who don't have the background knowledge that we do, who don't have the access to the dev team that we do, who don't have the familiarity with the system that we do. A lot of players don't know what the fuck they're doing. And you need to go into a system and act like you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Playtesters are good at this. Test players are not. Players in a game typically want to be good at the game. They want to try very, very hard. And they want to go, look how good I am at the game. Nobody wants to admit that they spent 5 fucking hours looking for the goddamn key. Nobody wants to admit that, because when they finally do find the key and they go, oh, it was right here the whole time, they feel stupid. They feel like it was their fault they didn't see it. But if it's not in a reasonable location where you're going to see it, if it took you forever to find it, it's going to take somebody else forever to find it. And if you're a reasonably smart person, reasonably smart persons are going to take forever to find it. And they're going to be unhappy. I don't know for sure that nobody came across this problem and nobody said it was an issue, but for whatever reason, it didn't get fixed. They didn't put the key on a fucking table, and they didn't put the data slate somewhere else. And honestly, when you pick up that slate, it should give you an objective marker for the key and an objective marker for the stolen Mantis ship. And both of those markers should be optional, because what if I don't fucking care? What if I just don't give a shit? And I just want to move on to the next location? They do not seem to have considered that. And I don't know, maybe the people who made Cryomancers, the creation kit is not very well documented. It's not very well understood by a lot of people. Maybe the people who made Cryomancers don't know how to make an optional mission. Maybe there's a reason they can't do it. But more likely, it simply never occurred to them that somebody might go, I don't want your fucking companion. I don't want your stupid robot dog. I don't need your fucking ship. Something I didn't test, but that I would test if I were hired to test a thing like this. What if I already have 10 ships? If I already have all 10 ships and you make me go check out the stolen Mantis ship, can I clear that objective without getting rid of one of my existing ships? Because maybe I don't want to. Maybe I don't want to sell one of my ships to pick up your piece of shit stolen Mantis ship. Maybe I don't have a level 4 piloting skill and I can't even use your goddamn ship. That's a problem. Almost every ship that you run across in Starfield is a Class A ship. Almost everything that you find, every ship that you find at a base, Class A ship. Because everybody can pilot them. Everyone, even with no piloting skill. Why wasn't the stolen Mantis ship a Class A ship? It should have been a Class A ship. Of course, it had to be Class B because it's got the Vanguard Bulwark shield on it. But why didn't you build it as a Class A? It should have been built as a Class A. I would have brought that up as an issue. You would have ignored it, and you would have gone, no, I want it to be a cooler ship. Yeah, but what about people who can't fly it? What about people who can't fly it? Oh, they can go back for it later. Yeah, but does the objective clear so they can move on? I don't know. I haven't tested that. I may get around to testing that at a later point. But this kind of stuff, this is why I get so bent out of shape about fucking mods. Because Cryomancers, I want to be clear, is a very well done mod. It's very well made. The people who made it did a very, very good job. But it has some major issues. I and everybody that I consider a competent QA engineer that I've ever worked with, we would all have called this out and gone, hey, there's a problem. But yeah, they don't. Somebody didn't call this out as a problem, or somebody just like didn't fix it, and that's very, very frustrating when you have. I run into this a lot on projects. I'll report an issue. I'll say this is a problem, and they'll go, "We don't care." It's a big issue. No, it's not. We're reprioritizing it. We're making it low priority and low severity. It's objectively high severity. It causes data loss. Like it's a crash to desktop, corrupt your save file, and everything dies. You can't reload at this point. You lose your game when this happens. Yeah, but it doesn't happen that often. You know that thing about 1 in a million? A lot of people aren't used to developing software at scale, and that's normal. And a lot of people aren't used to developing software for users, and that's normal. There's a huge number of just everybody who works in the game industry that is used to doing what they're told and nothing more. And when they build stuff on their own, they're building for an audience of other people who do what they do. And when they get together and they put all this stuff into a collection, you've got 3D modelers who are like, I made a good 3D model, and animators who are like, I made good animations, and you've got developers who are like, I wrote good code. And everybody has done a good job at their thing. But they don't have a project manager or a designer or a QA lead, and they don't have people to do these jobs. Everybody's done their job, but there are jobs that are not filled. And one of the most common misconceptions I see is that the people in those jobs don't do anything. Really fucking annoying. Anyway, that's kind of where I'm sitting. I don't really know why the Cryomancers mod is so popular. You know, here's the other thing. Why are these people fighting me? The slate I found in the well said that this guy has been working with them. You should go out there and see these guys. You should work with them. They pay really, really well. Well, I could use a job. Why are they trying to kill me? Seems like a bad hiring practice from where I sit. So now I've like wiped out an entire headquarters full of them, and I'm chasing down a little cryo beast pet that I don't fucking want on the pup. And that led directly into a major fucking space battle that I was not prepared for. I was not prepared for a space battle. When I got there, I had just like, I went through the Unity, and having gone through the Unity, I was like, let's do the Cryomancer shit right now. It should be fine. No, they made me go into a shit battle. There was also a Cryomancer's space station just like floating over top of, and then that wasn't the mission objective. And when I did go to the mission objective, it was this little fucking outpost down on the planet. And I don't know. Anyway, here's another fun little tip for you. When a ship lands and it's getting ready to open its landing, as it's landing, if you can get up to it while it's landing, you can throw create vacuum on the landing bay, and it'll kill the landing party before the bay opens up. Yeah, that's fun. A lot of people are not using their starborn powers, and you really should. You should jack your starborn powers up as high as possible, and you should use the fuck out of them. Because I swear to God, just like if you just use sense star stuff and go into sneak mode and wander around with a sniper rifle, holy shit, you'll just like wipe out entire bases. It's slow, but it's fun. And, well, that depends on the kind of person you are. The cryo drones won't let you do that in the Cryomancer stuff. Plus, they level scale so high. It's just all that, I mean, granted, I'm level 354, okay? But they're like level 265 or some such shit. And it's ridiculous. You're just like pumping bullets into them from across the... You're halfway across the map, you're pumping bullets into them from a sniper rifle, you got them in your sights, you're headshotting them, you're getting a bonus from your headhunter ability. It's just like bullet after bullet after bullet after bullet, and they're not going down. And who the fuck thought this was going to be fun? Create vacuum has a really long range. Solar flare has a really long range. Yeah, so yeah. And you can aim your starborn powers with your weapon. You can zoom in with your scope and fire your starborn power through the scope. It works. And it's really fucking cool. But yeah, that's the problem I have with mods. And that's the issue I have with most of the mods. And Cryomancers is a really, really good mod. And the people who built it did a really, really good job on it. And when you compare the average jackass in his basement building a mod, like, you know, me building the test neon.esp thing over here, when you compare somebody doing something like that, they're not going to do as good a job. They're not going to be as sophisticated. They're not going to be putting as much energy into it, as much effort into it. They're not going to be professional quality at every job they're trying to do. It's just unlikely they're going to do that great a job. Even when you get a little team together, you know, and I'm really hoping King Gaff's Watchtower and McLaren Outfitters are better than this. But as it stands, Cryomancers is not fucking great. But I am hoping to get through the rest of the week on Cryomancers. Between the Trackers Alliance stuff and Cryomancers, I should be able to get through the rest of the week. There's some stuff I want to do on the Trackers Alliance content, too. I want to try the alternate routes. I want to try the other stuff that you can do with it and see how that works out. Like, what if you don't stop the plot against Ryujin? What if you just take the one person you're supposed to take and just let everybody die? What happens then? Same thing with like the other stuff. It's like there's one where you have the opportunity to let people go. And I did. But what if you don't? What if you don't let it go? What if you just kill him? You just go right ahead and kill him. But I really wanted to. I really wanted to do every wanted dead or alive quest, and bring him in alive. That was very important. So I wanted to do that with everybody. I did not get to do that with. I did not get to do that with the Mantis. The Mantis I had to kill. I don't know if you can bring him in alive, like ever, under any circumstances, but I tried and I couldn't. I will try again. I've gone through the Unity once I've burned through some more Cryomancers content. What is the point of this? There is a player home that appears to be on Voli Epsilon, because they're sending me to Aquila City, which is HQ3, and HQ4 is on Voli Epsilon. So I suspect that's where the player home is, and I'm gonna headcanon that I give that to Huang Le. Hey, you need a place to stay? Go to Voli Epsilon. I've got a place there. You can stay there. Because when it comes to me and my player home, God, the one on Gagarin is, holy shit. Shotgun Mansion? Damn, that place is gorgeous. I'm really looking forward to getting the one in the asteroid when Free Lanes comes out. And I think that'll be pretty fucking awesome. I don't know what I'm going to think of McLaren Outfitters. It's just, it was bundled with Watchtower. People keep telling me to try Watchtower, and I guess I have to. I have to. It's too popular. I have to look at it and actually like give a meaningful impression on it. But it's pretty much where I am. Just trying to keep myself busy until Free Lanes comes out, which is that's a little over 2 weeks. It's 2.5 weeks at this point. I got to get through the rest of this week on Cryomancers and Trackers Alliance, and I want to try and get through the next 2 weeks on Watchtower and McLarendon. I'm probably going to have to throw McLarendon in probably this weekend. I will probably do that this weekend. And because I figured if I don't have to spend 5 hours looking for a fucking key, then I should finish up the Cryomancer stuff probably today, and then I'll be like bereft, and I may as well throw in McLaren Outfitters, get used to that, figure out how that works, and then I can put in Watchtower at the beginning of next week, and I don't know. Maybe I'll go ahead and throw Watchtower on as soon as I'm done with Cryomancers. Maybe I'll throw Watchtower and McLaren on at the same time. Anyway, do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit. Okay, bye.